Hey, I'm Jonathan Sewell Sales at Mitchell Mazda, Mitchell Lincoln on the Boulevard in Enterprise. And today I'm bringing you my sixth book recommendation of books that all salespeople should be reading right now. This is trying to be an inclusive list of everything that would help get your mind right, help you hone in on your skills, and be ready to serve now through forever. But especially during this time, as we see a little extra boost, a little extra push is probably needed to get things rolling and into the summer and through the fall, etc. So today's book is actually the first in the series that was I was introduced to this book from another book, another author that we've already talked about, and that was Jeffrey Gitomer in the Little Red Book of Selling. He actually mentions this book in there, piqued my interest, and so I decided to go buy the book, read the book, and it did not disappoint. Without further ado, Dig Your Well Before You're Thirsty by Harvey Mackay. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're looking at this book and saying, man, that looks a little old school. Well, as things would have it, it was actually published, I believe, in 1997. And so a lot of things, 97, a lot of things have changed in the way that we do things. This was kind of like the beginnings of the internet and a lot of different stuff going on. He actually refers to email as electronic letters. And if you don't know who Harvey Mackay is, this was actually his fourth book, and he's still at it, still writing books. Actually released one back in January of this year. And I'm going to try to pick that up and get some information on that as well. But this is, as it says right here in the subtitle, the only networking book you'll ever need. After reading this book, I can tell you that this is absolutely true. This is the only networking book you'll ever need. Now, I'm a big fan of prospecting and networking and doing all these things. Of course, Harvey was old school. He was actually... one of the ways that he made his money was by owning an envelope company. So when I say old school, I mean snail mail, I mean thank you cards, writing letters, all that stuff. But Harvey did not undervalue or underappreciate his network. So this book, although it was written over 20 years ago now, it is so entertaining because Harvey has stories of Muhammad Ali, of Lou Holtz, of how he's from Minnesota, how Minnesota got its first Super Bowl. All of these things he was able to, he's met all these people, of course, and the foreword is written by Jack Kemp, politician, served on some administrations and things like that. So he knows a lot of people. He was involved in a lot of things, a lot of firsthand knowledge. He met Larry King through some book dealings. So it was actually very entertaining, this book, but also enlightening to tell you what a good network could do for you. And that's exactly what we need now, is to build our network, build our customer base, build our friend base, build our inner circles, so that we can always have someone to go to. And of course, just like the Lou Holtz story says, it's what you can do for them, not what they can do for you. That's how you build a strong network. So of course, as the title suggests, everything's broken down and the chapters are really short, usually 1 or 2 pages, which is great because you can digest those really easily and come back and pick up 2 or 3 at a time, or just focus on the one every day. And there's actually, of those little chapters, there's actually 83 of those. So this is a little bit of a lengthy book, but those 83 chapters you could break up and do over a quarter, one a day, or whatever the case may be, because there's a lot of good information in those. But what I also like is it's organized by different steps of building your network. So the first one, step 1, jump in, the water's fine. Step 2, time to prime the well. Step 3, start digging. Step 4, sharpen your edge. Step 5, excavate your unique skills. Step 6, dig deeper. Step 7, don't fall in. Step 8, minding the well. Step 9, all's well that ends well. And step 10, drinking from the well and sharing the wealth. So there's a lot of good examples, ideas, and a lot of good pointers that he has in here about who should be in your network. It's not just about people that you want to sell to. It could also be doctors, accountants, lawyers, things that you can help in certain areas and they can help you in certain areas, or you can refer them to other people in your network. Of course, it talks about sharing networks and a few other things, and just making sure that you teach those around you how to grow their own network, facilitate a good network. There's a couple of things I wanted to point out in here. As I mentioned, he's already, he knows Lou Holtz well. He's met Muhammad Ali through their networks. He was introduced to them. And a couple other things. One that I wanted to share is the 2-minute drill, which is chapter 37. And the 2-minute drill, let me flip over there real quick. The 2-minute drill is really something that he does when he's speaking. And it's really based on taking 2 minutes each, partnering off. If he's speaking to a crowd of 500, he'll take 4 or 5 minutes and let them, person sitting next to you, someone that you don't know, spend 2 minutes asking them any type of questions, who they are, what they do, where they live, their spouse, their children, those things like that. And then flip it after 2 minutes so you can ask those same questions. And he's seen multiple times people in his audience have, through that 2-minute drill, have encountered many business opportunities in the future, but also kept in touch, also expanded their network. And that's what he's done his whole life. Learned early from his dad. He got his first job from his dad's network of people that he knew. So he's really facilitated that throughout his whole life, especially his professional life. And a lot of big things go on. And like I said, it's very amusing. Some of it's kind of dated, as I mentioned, when he was talking about the electronic letters and the electronic address instead of an email address. So, but a lot of good things. Maybe it appealed to my history a little bit with some of these things going on, talking about how Lou Holtz got into coaching and stuff like that through his network. But it's still pretty cool. One thing that I didn't mention, at the end of every chapter, there's a shadowed out portion that's called Mckay's Maxim. And so on the 2-minute drill, for example, the Mckay's Maxim is it all comes down to this. If you want 1 year of happiness, grow grain. If you want 10 years of happiness, grow trees. If you want 100 years of happiness, grow people. And I think that's as good a point of any to stop on this book. And I know that this was rather short. I'm trying to make these a little bit shorter so that you can digest more, move on to the next one, etc., and not wrap up, if you were watching this on the playlist, not wrap up your whole day. But again, I would highly recommend this book. This is what I would call, the only networking book you'll ever need. It's the networking Bible. So there's a lot of good stuff here. And as I mentioned, it was actually introduced to me by Jeffrey Gitomer in one of his 12.5 principles of the Little Red Book of Selling. As on networking, he recommended this book. So I went out and got it. And actually, like most things, I had it on my bookshelf for a couple of years before I dove into it. But there is an audiobook also. So I'll link both of those up in the comments. And you can track back through Amazon and find some of his newer books. I'm probably going to go ahead and pick up the one from earlier this year. And I'm sure that it'll be written very similarly and be as entertaining and attention-keeping as this one was. So thanks for joining me for this one. Again, I'm going to try to get a bunch of them. Like I said, originally I was thinking about doing 10. This is number 6. So I got a few more, but there's a lot of books up here that I'm wanting to share with you that I think would definitely help you out during this time. So I'll do my best to get those out and try to do them this week. But dig your well before you're thirsty. It's a good message for anyone. And if you want a lifetime of happiness or 100 years of happiness, grow your people. So yourself, those around you, make sure that you grow the network. So You need to read, you need to learn, and then you can go out there and sell. I'm Jonathan Sewell, sales at Mitchell Mazda, Mitchell Lincoln. Comment below with any questions. Give me a call or text 334-718-0504 if you have any recommendations for this list, and I'll see you on the next one.